An extraordinary 24 hours in American politics, in which Team Harris has called in two of its most well-known and influential surrogates, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney and former President Barack Obama, two people once deeply opposed to one another's ideas and politics, but now in the same big tent coalition aligned against the disgraced, twice impeached, four times indicted ex-president and aspiring autocrat. Last night, Liz Cheney was joined by former Trump aides Cassidy Hutchinson, Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Sarah Matthews, where they discussed their dramatic break with Donald Trump and why they're now backing Kamala Harris. Listen to Liz Cheney.
In this election, a broad coalition, a coalition unlike any that we have seen, certainly in modern American history, has come together to defeat Donald Trump. It is a coalition This is a coalition that may disagree on some things, but we're bound together as we work to elect Vice President Kamala Harris. We are bound together. That deserves definitely applause.
So that event last night, a prelude of sorts to the return of President Barack Obama to the campaign trail, a wildly popular ex-president, the most gifted political messenger of his generation. In just a few hours, he'll deliver remarks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is just the first of many events President Obama will be holding for Vice President Kamala Harris. It's part of a push by the Harris campaign to galvanize critical parts of the Democratic coalition as early voting begins. Former Obama strategist David Axelrod tells the New York Times this, quote, "You bring in someone like Barack Obama to inspire people, to encourage them to participate, and to set the stakes and urge them to vote. There is no one better." And President Obama's critiques of the ex-president have only grown sharper over the years. Here's the last time we heard from President Obama.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes. If we knock on doors, if we make phone calls, if we talk to our friends, if we listen to our neighbors, if we work like we've never worked before, if we hold firm to our convictions, we will elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States, and Tim Walz as the next vice president of the United States. We will elect leaders up and down the ballot who will fight for the hopeful, forward-looking America we all believe in. And together, we too will build a country that is more secure and more just, more equal, and more free. So let's get to work. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
With 26 days to go, let's get to work is the message of the day. It's where we start with some of our favorite experts and friends. Former campaign manager for President Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign, Jim Messina's back. Plus, David Jolly's here, former Republican congressman from Florida, now an MSNBC political analyst. And here with me at the table, president of the National Action Network, host of Politics Nation, right here on MSNBC, the Reverend Al Sharpton's here. For all that campaigns sit in rooms and try to figure out, President Obama is the answer to just about every strategic imperative that a winning campaign has in the final days. Just talk about the sort of difference maker that he is.
He's a huge difference maker at several levels. One, he's obviously one of the best, if not the best, orators in politics that we've seen in many years, and an oratory that reaches all segments of the country. He doesn't just speak to one side of America, and he's proven that down through the years over and over again. But I think that the real magic of bringing President Obama out is he will remind people when he walks on stage or when he's covered how he handed the country over to Donald Trump and what Donald Trump did with it. When Barack Obama left the White House, we had a solid economy. We had a standing where if you had a health scare like we ended up having, Dr. Fauci and others were empowered. We were moving forward after Barack Obama had inherited a serious economic crisis when he came in 2008 or 2009 when he took office. To remind people, this is what I gave Trump. This is what Trump did with it. Why would you risk giving him that again? So beside his oratory is he physically bears in his body the report card on Donald Trump.
You know, Jim Messina, folks close to the campaign, and I know you're closer than all of us, so you'll know better if I have this wrong, but one of their theories of the race is that if people understand the stakes, that when the stakes are higher and people understand that we're not choosing between ordinary, generic Republican, generic Democrat. We're choosing between the future trajectory of America. What is it? Does it continue to be a democracy? Do we continue to settle our differences at the battle box, or do we continue to condition parts of the country, all of them Republicans, to accept political violence? When the stakes are what those of us who cover this every day understand they are because of what Donald Trump is running on, Vice President Harris is more likely to prevail. There isn't anyone who has put a finer point, and I'm thinking about his convention speech in the sort of the COVID convention of 2020, on the threat to democracy. And I don't think there's anyone that understands the threat that Donald Trump faces like a former president. I wonder what you make both of his star power, but also of his ability to reframe and to do that in an important strategic manner, the stakes of the contest in 26 days.
Yeah, Nicole, look, Barack Obama really has become the country's chief explainer in chief, the person who wants to explain the moment we're in, the position we are, the stakes. He's the best we have seen in our lifetime, and really trusted by the American voters to say, where are we? Whether you like or don't like Barack Obama, you respect him. To Al's point, you respect what he got done as president. And, there's this silly debate in the Democratic Party about whether you turn out voters or whether you talk to swing voters. If you think about one person who can do both, it's Barack Obama. Both of his campaigns are really about doing both. And if you think about one place where you have to do both, turn out voters and persuade rural voters and exurban voters, it's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so the decision to have him start there is just another masterstroke by the Harris campaign. And he's really the one person who can do both of those things, as well as look at the country, to your smart point, and say, look, we are sitting 26 days away from the most important choice you've had to make. Let me just explain why. And that's a superpower he has that no one else on the world stage has.
And Jim Messina, if you're sitting and looking at a map and you're looking at the polls, where do you send him next? Tell me what this tour would look like in your mind.
Oh, my God. Thank you for asking, Nicole. I would put him in a bus, and I'd put him all over the Midwest. Whether or not you get that much time from him. But what he's amazing at is both the big speech and then, as Reverend Al knows, the retail campaigning. And I do a bunch of OTRs in small restaurants and bars and just make him around the people, let him have a little fun with it. I guarantee you today he's having a great day. One of the unknown stories of his 2008 campaign is he was adopted by the Rooney family and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they kind of helped him when no one thought he could win. And I promise you, you have a very happy Barack Obama campaigning in Pittsburgh today.